Let's continue the demo for pod networking. The next piece is to communicate with containers across pods in the same node. So here we have pod 1 in, let's say, worker node 1, and then we have pod 2 in worker node 2. And let's say I want to have a communication from container C2 to container C3. Container C2 is in pod 1 and container C3 in pod 2. And I want to make a connection either using curl command or ping command or whatever. So let us see how that happens. And fourth and final piece of this demo is the communication of containers across pods and across nodes. So these two pods can be in, let's say, node 1. Then we have another node named node 2. And let's say we have another container. And the final portion will see how the communication happens, how any one of these containers in node 1 can talk to another container in altogether another node using the IP address of the pods, not using the node IP address. So in case of our demo, node 1 is worker 1 and node 2 is worker 2. And you already know our setup. We have three pods: KTS pods intro 1, KTS pods intro 2, and KTS pods with nodes. And the first two pods are in the same node, KTS worker 1, and this third pod is in another node, which is KTS worker 2. First, what I'll do is I'll log into one of the containers in KTS pods intro 1, and from there I'll try to do a curl to the container which is located in KTS pods intro 2. So pods intro 1 has Python web page application and HTTP web page application. KTS pods intro 2 has only HTTP web page application, and KTS pods with nodes has both Python web page and HTTP web page application. And now I am entering Python web page application of KTS pods intro 1 pod. Now I'm going inside of the Python web page container in KTS pods intro 1 pod. Now notice the IP address of the pods. So pods intro 1 is 10.168.1.10, pods intro 2 is 10.168.1.11, and KTS pods with nodes has an IP address of 10.168.2.14. So let me go inside, and now I am in the Python web page container of KTS pods intro 1. Let me try to do a curl with the IP address of KTS pods intro 2, which is located in the same node as that of this pod. So what I have done, I'm inside of a container in this pod, and from there I'm trying to do a curl of a web page which is in another pod in the same node, and it should give me some output, and there you go, it is working fine. Okay, so now what I'll do is, for the next part of our demo, I'll try to do a curl of the web page which is hosted on another pod in another node. So in this case, the pod would be KTS pods with nodes, which is hosted on worker node 2. And the IP address of that one is 10.168.2.14. And this one should also show me the same output. So now if you have seen that the communication across pods do not need the node or host IP address, the pod IP address is enough. The second demo, the inter-node communication, is because of the overlay network that I was talking in the theoretical part. The traffic or the network packet or the network request went through the tunnel, hit the other pod in the other node, and sent the response without doing any NATing. And this concludes the pod networking demo.